All right, we are now recording. Oops. Wrong one. All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the Elementary Schools Choice Night for Natomas Charter School. Here today, I am Amy Kaler, and I'm the principal for Star Academy, which is our site-based K-12, or not K-12, our site-based K-5 program. And then with me today, I have Alicia. Alicia, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name is Alicia Carter, and I am the principal at Pact Academy, which is our K-8 homeschool support program.
So we will be presenting on both of our programs tonight. And as we're going through, if you have questions, please feel free to add them to the chat. And then at the end, we will be addressing any questions that are in there. This presentation also will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube if you want to refer to it later, or if you know somebody who wasn't able to make it. So thank you. Alicia, I'll turn it over to you.
Excellent. Well, welcome everyone. It's really nice to have you virtually, and we hope at some point to get to meet you in person. So we're just going to spend a little bit of time talking about our elementary options today. We have two elementary school programs, Star Academy and Pact Academy, and they both have very different programs, but we share mission and vision. And so we just want to take a minute to talk a little bit about Natomas Charter School's beliefs and system. Natomas Charter School Academies exist to provide students opportunities. And some of the things on the screen are just talk about what those opportunities are. Developing students' unique interests, uncover their talents and all of the things that are inside of them waiting to be discovered, experience satisfaction in their accomplishments, in their education, to gain a sense of responsibility, to pursue education as a way of life, and to prepare them for an ever-changing future. We really believe in educating whole children. And so both of our programs, you'll see those elements woven in through that. All right, next one. So Natomas Charter School is one big school. And there's just kind of a graphic here so you can see the pathways and the mini programs, arrows everywhere. So again, from TK, entry point is Star Academy. And then Star Academy runs through 5th grade. We also have an entry point in kindergarten at Pact Academy, and that runs all the way through 8th grade. We do have two site-based middle schools, Performing and Fine Arts Academy and Leading Edge, and those both run, you can pick up in those programs in 6th grade and do 6th, 7th, 8th. And then for high school, we have two options. One is to continue in our site-based high school program at PFAA all the way through 12. And the other is the Virtual Learning Academy, which is a hybrid independent study high school program. So these 5 programs are very, very different, but our teams work together, our staff work together. We really work on mission and vision. We really work on serving kids, and we share many things in common. All right.
All right, so for Star Academy, just kind of highlighting some of the things that make us special. One, we really strive to build a culture of kindness. This is something, actually this week is Kindness Week and the Great Kindness Challenge, which our social emotional counselor is leading. But anybody who comes to our campus, one thing you always notice if you talk to staff or if you talk to students, they always note that we are an environment of kindness and a school of kindness, and they talk about that and what they do to support that. So that's something that we're very proud of and known in our community for. We are also striving to create creative thinkers and innovative problem solvers. So working with our students doing STEM and STEAM activities, including engineering, problem solving, math. They do hands-on projects. Depending on what grade level they're in, there's always a bigger project. Our kindergarten students do the zoo, our 2nd grade students do market day. So there's something within each grade level that they do special. That's not just textbook learning, but they're applying what they're learning and using their critical thinking skills. We also appreciate cultural diversity and celebrate that. We have some cultural events and different things that we do. Um, and it really goes through our specials that I'll talk about on the next slide. We also have community partnerships. Jibe is a huge partner with us. They help support us through our jogathon. During COVID, it's been a little bit kind of funky with stuff going on, but they did our walking school bus and they support us through different activities that we're doing. We also have field trips every year. Right now during COVID, that's been a little bit trickier and with the bus shortages. We actually do have a field trip, our first one of the year, with our fifth graders going to our Black Rock campus this week on Friday. But usually every year, every grade level has multiple field trips. Our fourth graders go to Coloma normally, and our fifth graders do overnight field trips. But it's everything that links to what they're learning about. So it's all purposefully done. It's not just to take a field trip because we're going there for fun. It's to learn about and go into deeper information about what they're learning in class. We also have very active parent involvement. This has been a little bit different too with COVID, but generally we have parents volunteering in the classroom. They might help support from home. We have a parent group called the Novas, and they help support different activities and things we put on for the staff and for the students and families every year. And we work together with them quite often. We also have a before and after school care program, and it's called SCAPE. So they open every day at 7 a.m. and they close at 6 p.m. They are open during most holidays, except for Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, New Year's Day, but that goes year round. We also have after school enrichment opportunities. These have been put on hold a little bit with COVID, but we are bringing them back. And we have different vendors from outside, in addition to teachers and others who teach classes that you can sign up for after school. And those are always fun, and families really enjoy those. And then we purposefully integrate technology. With COVID, we've had to update this a little bit, but we use our technology in the classroom to do reports, to do research. There's different learning students do. We have iReady, which is a reading and math program that links to our curriculum, and students can work on that. We use it for workshops that they're doing, whether they're reading workshop, math workshop, acceleration, just anything, but it's not just there to play a game, it's there and being used purposefully. So we really strive to do that in a meaningful way. And then for enrichment, these are actually our specials. And this is for students, all of our students, our TK students through fifth grade, all attend 4 specials each week. The specials are Spanish, which comes to the classroom. We have Kind Kids Club, which our social emotional counselor leads. And she comes in, she uses a program, I believe Character Strong is what it is called. And then she develops these lessons with that to teach all of the students. So we have universal support of social emotional for all of our students. And then we have library and art classes, which are all great. And then Alicia, I'm going to turn it back over to you for Pact.
Excellent.
If it will switch slides. There we go.
There we go. So at Pact Academy, we are an independent study program, which is the official way of saying that we support homeschoolers. And so homeschooling is a little bit different adventure than a site-based school, as many of you have learned over the last couple of years. Homeschooling is also a little different than distance learning. So at Pact Academy, we provide support for K through 8th grade students, and some of the benefits of the program are that families find when you're homeschooling at home, you're doing school during the day together. And the beauty of that is that there isn't additional homework. You're doing your homework during the day. So you gain time for your evenings and weekends to be free and to have family time and kind of pace that out. Amy, you can go ahead and kind of punch through, make those little pop-ups happen. There we go. Another benefit of homeschooling is personalization. When you're a homeschooling family, you definitely get a little more time and space to personalize your child's education and center the educational program around the specific needs of each child. Even within a family, there are very often very different needs for students. And so it's nice to be able to take a look at the needs of each individual child and really develop a plan to help that child move forward. And then another one of the really big benefits of homeschooling is a flexible schedule. So just kind of a little bit of basic, the way that our program works and how it's different than either a site-based or a virtual learning program. We have a building. It is just down the road from Star Academy on East Commerce. We function out of that building. That's where everything happens. And so when you enroll at Pact, you are assigned a credentialed teacher who becomes your coach and your guide, your advisor, and they help sit down with your family. They help guide you through curriculum, and then you act as the primary teacher of your children at home. Then some of the benefits of coming to Pact, and Amy, go ahead and do the next slide. I'm not sure what's on it, but there it is that you get that individual differentiated instruction, which you're working with that credentialed teacher to create your plan. We have a curriculum library, so you take home math books, language arts materials, science, social studies, and we help you select the good fit for your family. You take all that home, and then you are the primary general education teacher under the supervision of that credentialed teacher. But then we also offer at our facility, you can come in and take enrichment courses. And so the best way I describe these to families is that they're electives, kind of like community college for elementary school children. So you sign up for which electives you want to take, and then you come in like Monday at 10 o'clock every week for an art class. And you get to set your schedule and decide how much you're going to take on and what interests your child has, and then kind of use that to supplement that home education. We also have a very robust homeschooling community. And so what I tell people is the greatest benefit of homeschooling at Pact is that we're homeschooling in community, that we homeschool together. I actually have 3 daughters enrolled. My husband and my parents are doing the homeschooling for them. And one of the things that they really communicate is so valuable is that they don't feel like they're on their own in their home. And so you have a community of families who are doing this. And that community of families gets together for things like field trips, events, science nights, recitals, trips to the planetarium, all of the places. Again, this year we're a little restricted, but we are adding those things back in a few at a time. And that is where our students really shine, is in coming together to be able to have those experiences that are similar to a site-based program and still have the flexibility of a homeschooling program. Okay. So just a little bit about applying at either Star Academy or Pact Academy. Amy's making a face. The lottery is the wrong date. It's the 9th. So complete an online application. If you visit natomascharter.org or either star.natomascharter.org or pact.natomascharter.org. These look like last year's dates. Sorry. So she's going to update it right now. But applications are due February 17th, 18th, 17th. She's going to change it and then I'll read it for you. And then you do an intake meeting, which is where you set a meeting with one of our front office staff members, and they'll review and make sure all of your documents are submitted and all of the things you need. And then our lottery this year is being held on March 9th. So why this is important is the lottery happens if we have more applicants than we have spots. So at Star Academy, that's done by grade level. There are X number of seats in kindergarten and TK are those entry points. And then occasionally there will be a seat in a grade if someone moves. So if we have more applicants than we have seats available in a grade, a lottery is done. Pact is done generally in enrollment. We don't do enrollment by grade level. So we just have a certain number of seats and we fill them up. But if we have more applicants than we do seats, then we also hold a lottery for that. That is being held this year on March 9th. And then you have a few days to think about it and decide if you want to accept that spot. And then enrollment moves forward, and it's very exciting for everyone involved. Amy, anything else on applications we should know? I think that's it. So up on the screen right now, and also on our websites, is the contact information for our front office personnel who handle registration and questions and all of these wonderful things. So at Star Academy, that's going to be Cindy. And at Pact Academy, that's Michelle. They're a wealth of information. And it's a great idea. If you have any questions, to just reach out. You can send them an email. You can set up a time to do questions, and they're very, very knowledgeable and helpful. All right. So Amy, we do have some questions in the chat. You want me to read and you want to answer? What would you?
Yeah, let me stop sharing. I just wanted to check those dates. They look correct.
I think
Okay.
that's right.
Yeah, if you want to read them.
I will. So we have a question that says homework was mentioned about Pact doing during the day. What is the homework load or expectation at Star Academy?
So Star Academy, for homework, we really value families' time at home, and the students work very hard at school. But the general rule is, we say, if you read 15 to 20 minutes a day, and then we do have the iReady, which we recommend doing a few, probably like 10, 15 minutes a day. Sometimes there are little projects, but otherwise we minimize homework. But it kind of depends on the grade level, but that's a general rule.
Awesome. Okay, there's another question that says, approximately how many students do you expect traditionally in grades that aren't like the Tkk?
So for Star Academy, TK will have 24 spots. For kindergarten, we'll have roughly 72-ish spots open. And then first through fifth grade, usually it's a couple. With COVID and everything, there is definitely some more shifting than we historically have seen, but generally it's like 1 to 2 spots we'll have open. This past year, though, we've seen more than that. We've seen maybe closer to like 10 spots open, I would say. So somewhere in that range. It's just real inconsistent right now. So I would say actually you probably have a better chance in some of the first through fifth grade grade levels than you would have historically.
We're definitely seeing that. Things are unpredictable right now. So you just go for it. Abby is asking, do younger grades have adequate play-based learning? Talk a little bit about play-based learning.
So yes, so kindergarten TK, I guess I should start off with TK class. There is not actually an adopted curriculum for them. So a lot of it is hands-on, just learning the basics. How do you socialize, interacting with each other, teamwork. So their stuff is generally through center-based, a lot of carpet time, directed play, I guess I would say. So here's your centers or stations, here's what you're working on, and then they would rotate around. First or kindergarten mixes that in, but they do have adopted curriculum, so it kind of has a balance between that. Every grade level does workshop time. Workshop is, so in reading workshop, you would have a station with the teacher where they're working on whatever skill they need to work on, whether it's reading, phonics, phonemic awareness. It kind of just depends on where they are, vocabulary practice, comprehension, depending on that. There might be other students that are using the Epic app, doing reading stuff. They might be creating sentence strips with other students. They might be using blocks to do different things, using manipulatives for math are in there. Science and social studies, we have quite a bit of hands-on stuff. So there's projects. Project Lead the Way was a program that we have used too. So that has different like science experiment type level stuff, I would say, and then bringing in technology for robotics. That's kind of off the top of my head what I would say, but it's
lots of fun. Yeah, she's thanking you. Thank you. That's excellent. In our Q&A zone, we have anonymous attendee says, at Pact Academy, do you have seats available for this school year? Yeah, call me tomorrow. I have a few. Not a ton. They're going fast. We've actually enrolled a bunch of kids this week. But if you're interested in joining us for the remainder of this school year, we would love to have you. And then there's a question about seats allocated in TK for non-NUSD applicants, and I can field this. The application pool, you put in your application, and then the lottery preferences are what determine how that works. So it's very spelled out on our website exactly what the preferences are. And so students who do live in the attendance area are given a lottery preference over those who live outside, but that doesn't mean that you don't get in. Sometimes that happens. So again, just go for it and take the risk. Does Pact have TK? Currently, we do not have a TK program. However, sorry, just there. In independent study land, you may enroll once you are 5. So as long as your child is 5, we can enroll them. They just do what we basically call a year and a half of kindergarten in homeschool. And that's, as of right now, we don't know what they're going to do with that next year. So that's still all in the legislature. Okay, that's all the ones that I see. So if you have a question, go ahead and type it into one of the, here we go. For Pact Academy, is there help, tutors, teachers available for assistance with reading and writing for kids who are struggling? So yes, so your credentialed teacher can help you, your advisor with that. They will work with your child. Some of our advisors will schedule some additional time, but also there's a pretty significant amount of coaching for the parent on how to provide strategies for support. So one of our goals is to make sure that students are getting that support in general education, which you're providing at home. We also have a very robust MTSS process, which is when students are academically struggling or behavior or social emotional, we have some tiers of support. And so there are many things put in place to ramp up that support and to make sure that they get what they need to be successful. We are very, very on top of that. And then there's a question over here from Amy that says, is Pact new or a result of COVID? That is an excellent question. Pact has actually existed for 25 years. Natomas Charter School is one of the first schools in the state to have created a charter school homeschool program. And so my staff are very, very good at the homeschooling game. They've been doing this for a long time. And I would actually say that the last couple of years have been relatively steady for us. We've been very busy, and luckily we have a great framework in place to help support families who have made that shift. It's a good place. Let's see. Kira says, we will be moving to NUSD before the school year starts. Will my application be considered under NUSD preference or not? Do you know, Amy? That would be a great question for one of our front office ladies who could contact the registrars and let you know.
I believe you have to show proof somehow. If you're having a house built, I know you can turn in a document, but definitely ask the front office staff.
We've heard that before, but I don't remember the answer. Okay, let's see. Lots of questions for my husband. That's okay. That's good. For Pact, is it parent choice for curriculum? Can parents bring vendors if you don't have something they're wanting? And what funding does each student get? You know about homeschooling, so let me answer that question. Okay, for those of you thinking about homeschooling, there are 2 models that happen in this region. One is a funds-based model, and one is a non-funds-based model. And what that means is that the ADA, or those money allocated by taxpayer dollars to each student, if you enroll at Pact Academy, all of that money goes into a general pool, and you aren't allocated a specific dollar amount. This can be very beneficial if you take some workshops, quite a few workshops. If you don't want a lot of expensive curriculum, that's nice because you don't have to worry about that. If you enroll in another homeschooling program that is funds-based, such as Visions or Horizon or Inspire, you are allocated a dollar amount. And your curriculum, as you order those curriculum items, that comes out of your dollar amount. And as you attend workshops to different vendors, that comes out of that dollar amount. So those are the differences. And then kind of to answer the other part of that is, as far as parent choice, we don't pay for workshops outside of our organization. We have staffed workshop teachers who are credentialed and background checked and fingerprinted and all those things. And so we provide those workshops. We do work with a dance studio, an art teacher, a music teacher, a science workshop. So we have lots of options, but you are limited to the ones inside of our Pact organization. Now, of course, you can take your kids to anything you want to take them to, and it counts as school, but we don't pay for it. And then as far as curriculum, it's kind of the same thing. We have a curriculum catalog, and we order from that catalog. Those are approved, recommended things for taxpayer dollars. And those are checked out, or for workbooks, they are given to you and you use them. If you want something outside of it, then there are a couple of options. You can get it on your own. You can ask for a special waiver and we review that, but it's really done on a case-by-case basis. And then as a follow-up, fair enough, great. I can talk all day about the fun things. Does Pact provide services such as occupational therapy, counseling? Yes. So Pact is part of Natomas Charter School, and all of our inclusive education and special education services are one department for all NCS academies. So at Pact Academy, we do have 2 educational specialists who are on our site who case manage. We actually share our speech therapist, occupational therapist with Star Academy. So whether your child attends Star or Pact, that's actually the same person providing those. We do have a social emotional counselor as well at Pact. That is a different person than Star. We share with one of the high schools there, but we do some sharing, but Natomas Charter School does have a robust, fully staffed special education staff to meet all of the needs of students. They're amazing.
Alicia, there was one I saw about are students guaranteed a spot at middle school if they're in 5th grade? They are not. So 5th grade, at least for Star Academy, for Pact, no, Pact is the same way too. If you're staying at Pact through 8th grade, you don't have to reapply. But if you're at Pact or Star Academy and you have a 5th grade student and you're trying to get them to Pact for, if you're going from Star to Pact, or if you're going from Pact or Star to Leading Edge or PFAA, you do have to reapply to the lottery for that year, or to the applications for that year. You are given a preference, and you are given a higher preference for being a family that's already with the Natomas Charter School Academies, but you definitely do have to apply.
Thanks, I missed that one. Flew right by.
Anything else? I'm not seeing anything else.
We'll give you a minute to think before we. Oh, how many field trips are provided over the year under Pact? That's a great question. Right now, none, because we're on quarantine, lockdown, fun. But it totally depends on the year and the resources, and we can do more if they're less expensive, and we can do fewer if they're more expensive. But I would say as a rule, we provide 1 a month at least. And so it kind of depends on the grade level too. Many of them are open to all grade spans, but sometimes they're very specific. There are many, many opportunities. And my children would tell you that when we were running full things, they would say, why can't we go to all of them? And I said, because there's so many, we would never do anything else but field trips. That's one of my favorite things. I miss field trips.
We're working hard to bring those back.
Let's see. Okay, how many students per class at each grade level? Amy, I'm going to let you take that one.
So for Star Academy, we have 24 students in each classroom for TK through 3rd grade, and then 4th and 5th grade have 32 students. And there's 1 TK class for kinder through 3rd grade classes, and then there's 3 4th grade and 3 5th grade.
And then we have a question that's asking if my child would need speech therapy. Can you tell us about your speech therapy program? I'm gonna jump that one over to you, Amy. What does that look like on your site?
So for Star Academy, speech generally is done as pulled out, and they're pulled out of the classroom and with a small group. And they work with the classroom teacher to find a good time to pull the students where they're not missing core content.
And then another one for you. Can you also talk a little more about parent volunteer involvement expectations for STAR?
So we actually have a parent handbook about that, but overall our parents with COVID, we've had to kind of shut that down and limit just because the elementary students weren't able to get vaccinated. Now we're working on kind of bringing that back, though we're navigating some other stuff right now with COVID. Generally parents come in, there's 2 levels. One, parents can be parent volunteers where they're in the classroom and around a teacher. And then there's another level where if you get fingerprinted, the teacher doesn't have to be right there. So depending, parents help support field trips, and that's where you would need the fingerprinting level. Or if you were pulling a small reading group into, we have these hub spaces that are outside the classroom. Otherwise, parents are in the classroom. Usually it's one, maybe two parents max at a time, and helping support their workshops or reading with students, potentially some prep work being done. That's pretty much historically what I would say. And then when we have events and some of the bigger stuff going on, our parents help out a lot with that. So we have Winterfest, Jogathon. There's other events that we have, our end of the year celebration. And parents, there's a lot of parent involvement with that, where they help run stuff.
So follow up over here from Abby asking, and I'm gonna answer this for both campuses because I'm not sure, but it says with parental involvement, I have a 6-month-old. Can they come with? So the answer at STAR is no. And the answer at Pact is no if you're volunteering in a workshop, but yes if you're coming to meet with your teacher with just your family as part of the advisor, or to just be on the campus between things. So it kind of depends on the situation, but yeah, we can't actually allow non-school students to be in the instructional spaces. That's an insurance no-no. And so yeah, no. Over here, this is anonymous, so I'm gonna answer what I think you mean. I'm guessing for Pact, are workshops back-to-back time-wise, and is it convenient for parents to drop off kids for a couple of hours a week or a couple of times a week, once a week? So yes, and sometimes. So workshops, if you visit pact.atomischarter.org and you look at, click some tabs around, and there's a workshop schedule that's this semester's current workshop schedule, and you can kind of get a feel for what it looks like. But yes, we do try to create opportunities where, say, a 4th grade student could attend 2 workshops in a row. And when they're in a workshop, they are with our credentialed staff, and you are welcome to leave them and come back when it's done. You just need to be back to pick them up at the end. So there are many families who choose to back up a couple of hours. There are also many families who come back multiple days a week for just 1 or 2 things at a time. K-5 students at Pact Academy, when they're not directly in a class or with a staff member, do need to be supervised by a parent, because we don't have a closed campus. There's not a fence, there aren't campus monitors, so you do have to be with them. Our 6th through 8th graders are allowed to be on campus for small amounts of time independently, and we write out a contract and help build up that independence. So just depending on the need of your family and what you're doing, yeah, we try to make it as convenient as possible.
All right, Alicia, maybe one more question if we see it. Otherwise,
yeah,
I'm not seeing any movement on the chat at the moment
either. I'm scrolling back through to make sure I didn't miss any. I think we got them all.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight.
Oh, here we have one more. We're going to take the last one. Here it is. Because this is a good question. Is there transferring between academies within the same grade? No. You can't bounce from Pact to Star Academy, say in 1st grade. They are, while we're all in CS, because of those seats and where there's space and class size limits and all of those things, waiting lists, we do, if you're going to leave one academy and go to the other, it's a disenrollment and a re-enrollment, and there would have to be space. I will tell you very transparently that if you want to go from Star Academy to Pact Academy, that's usually doable. If you want to go to Pact Academy from Star Academy, that is much more difficult to do. And that's just because of the limits of class sizes. So, yep. All right.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Let me turn the record off.